Hello, everybody. Hey, Kevin. By the way, for anyone whoever's watching the VODs, I just say hey to whoever's here, and Kevin's usually here first. It's not like I'm always calling out Kevin specifically, or at least not for no reason. Um, I believe there's an update on one of the PRs. I need to go look at it. Hey, Capillara, long time no see. How's it going? Thank you for the resub. Happy 5 years and 1 month. What's new? I think there was a comment here. Yeah. Push to change gating the feature behind instance toolbar feature flag or debug. Also fix the bug when resizing the window. It was an issue with the drag controller trying to keep the slot inside the viewport when docked. Okay, let's look at both of these commits. I'm doing well. Wednesday, I was on the front page of Twitch, so there were a lot of new eyes on the stream. Oh, screen frozen? Yeah, thank you. I don't know why that happens. Okay, cool. I should probably write something like a script that whenever I start the stream, it just restarts the capture on my monitor. You were lurking. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, well, anyway, that's like the biggest news for me. And then we're prepping for Next Fest, of course. So that's the next big thing. And we've got a little over a month and a week or something. You kept playing after you're done the game? Yeah. What was I going to write down here? Oh, yeah. Write a script for OBS that'll auto restart my monitor capture when I start the stream so that I never have to do that manually. Okay, let's look at these. This one I expect should be UIDs. I expect should be easy. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Wait. Why did this change? Oh, this is now named toolbar container. Okay, I was like, there shouldn't be scene changes here. Toolbar feature enabled is equal to one of those things being true. Something I never thought of. Can you specify feature flags from the command line? Specify feature flags from command line. Like, can anyone just turn debug on? Possible to run a Godot game with a custom flag. No, has features separate. Yeah, has features separate. Okay, good. Yeah. I was wondering, could anyone just turn on the debug stuff? Because turning on a feature... I'll leave this like this for now. Do you have any stats on how many viewers? Yeah, the viewer stats I shared on Discord, they are here. So these aren't real stats, you know, quote unquote real stats, because not all these people are watching or paying attention or even are aware that there's a stream playing. Unlike on a normal day where you have to go to my stream to watch it. But yeah, generally a lot of these things are way better than they normally are, as you can tell from the deltas in this picture. And then we got 99 wish lists that day when normally we get like probably like 5 to 10, something like that. So yeah, stats were up across the board. Also, ad revenue when you've got like 1,600 viewers on average is actually worthwhile. it's kind of meaningless up until you get a certain number of viewers, but like I could buy a nice meal with the ad revenue I got the other day. Normally I can get some ramen. Oh, you even wishlisted. Nice. Yeah. On Wednesday? Okay. So you were part of the 99 people. Actually, it might have been more than 99. All I could tell is that it was net 99. Well, actually, I could tell how many exactly added it and how many removed it. All right. So we haven't looked through the rest of this yet, right? Oh, interesting. Interesting, yeah. And just don't do anything in the toolbar otherwise. We also don't even show the toolbar. Yeah, cool. Okay. This looks good. So let's go try this one out. This is, oh, I guess it's still 923. PR 923. Okay, get this, close all these tabs, blah, blah, blah. And then in toolbar, I want to turn that off, wherever that thing is. It's in instance slot. All right, so we're going to turn this off. and then try running this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm using iTerm 2 for my terminal. I really like it. I think this is my favorite terminal experience, even between this and Windows. I think iTerm 2 just does everything very well. And then Konimu was my favorite Windows one. Your iTerm looks different from mine. Is it the colorful aspect of it that makes it look different? Or maybe something like this? Because as far as the actual look of the terminal, that should be pretty much the same. The tab colors are something I did sort of custom, and seashell theme. Yeah. Yeah. So I've got all of this stuff in this repo, and the tab title thing, I made a thing that when I set the title, so let's say I type Capillara, for example. Whoops. Let's try that again. It's going to hash the title that I gave it and always use the same color. So it shows like a tan color for that. But if I were to name it something like client, it picked a bluish color. Whoops. So that way at a glance, I can tell like which tab am I looking for. And you know, sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. What terminal emulator do I use? Yeah, that's iTerm 2. Yeah, Scorbuto. And on Windows, I used Konimu. All right, so we turn this off. We ran the game. We should not see the title bar now, and there should be no way to move this yet. Now, out of curiosity, if we start many instances, can we then click and drag? No, we still can't. All right, that's fine. I think this is good. And then there was the one other change that it fixed when this thing is on. So let's go turn this on again. It's a mixed bag because it doesn't have a scroll bar. It doesn't have a scroll bar. I've heard of Ghosty. I don't really get the desire to have your terminal be super fast because I feel like it's already very fast to begin with. So to have it be even faster is just not something I really care too much about. Like I never feel like my terminal is holding me up. Now, if you were like, hey, we have a compiler that's whatever, 100 times faster or something, I'd be like, okay, yeah, compilation times can be sometimes kind of long. Once you go hardware rendered, you never go back. But I mean, like I said, does it make that much of a difference? Like if I type something like ls here and press enter, there's probably some minuscule amount of delay, but I can't tell. So everything already seems instantaneous. All right, so what we got to try here now is what happens when we resize the window. And yeah, it looks like all that's working. Probably the same thing with minimizing this. I'm just going to mess around with this window for a little bit longer. Then let's undock this and try redocking it. Cool. Yeah, looks like everything's working well there. Cool. Let's merge this. Thanks for making such quick changes. All right. So we'll merge this. And then this was 923. Let's go back over here, pull what we've merged, get this, and then go write something else in that new issue. Where's the new issue? Here, 924. 923 addressed the foundation. There are still some changes to make. All right, so what's been fixed? These bugs. Actually, maybe I should just move this down. Hey, Ayers, how's it going? Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Shout out to Ayers. She's very relaxing to watch. I don't tend to like actively watch a lot of software and game dev streams. I just kind of have them on in the background. So for me, it's all about like the person's voice and their general sort of presence. So Ayers has a nice stream to leave on in the background. Anyway, yeah, like I said, hope is good. Welcome in, everybody. Fix stuff. Let's put this here. Actually, maybe that should go in a totally different header. Yeah, tasks. Yeah, for those new here, I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. We spent about 4 hours streaming today, and this is one of the major changes. I can't take credit for the feature, but I helped a little bit. Kevin made this. So now we can move battle windows around. The reason this is really nice is because before they always had to be anchored to the bottom of your screen. And now if you've got a really wide monitor, you can put them on the left side, for example, or keep them minimized like this in between, and then only look at them when you actually care about whatever's in them for some reason. So we still have some work to do on this. It's not actually public yet. And the game itself is Skeleseller. I'll just link in the Steam thing here. The amount of hesitations doesn't really matter too much to me. Like I said, it's the voice combined with the general air of the stream. And then if I ever am chatting with a person, how interactive they are. I think the bigger the stream, the harder it is for the streamer to interact with you, of course. And at some point I'm like, yeah, I'll just go hang out somewhere else. Like I'm probably not going to chat in someone's stream if they've got 2,000 people, because the odds of them actually even seeing my message is pretty low. All right, so there's still some tasks to do there. We've copy pasted everything from this already. Did I get that future PR thing there too? Yes. Okay, so we can delete all of this. All right. Yeehaw, time to tackle a sucky issue. So you may have noticed very, very tiny graphics in the game. That's because of a new Mac OS, probably driver issue, and we need to work around that. So like there's a sign right there, and you can probably make this out through the stream. There's like, what, 5 pixels on the screen, and that's the sign. You should be able to just see it. Same thing with the portal, same thing with NPCs. NPCs are just really tiny. Look, there they are. Hi. So we got to fix this issue, and I want to try a few different things. Are they different game screens? So a couple things to add on to what Kevin said. One is the concept of this being a window. It's not a window in terms of your operating system. So the game is rendering this. And then this inside here is what's called a sub viewport. So we can choose exactly what renders inside this thing and then cut it off at some point. So for example, let's say we rendered some like massive amount of smoke here. The smoke will never leave this window. But if we didn't use a sub viewport, then nothing would stop it from leaving the window. So yeah, it's an in-game window with a sub viewport. A really tiny side. All right, so here's what I think we should test first. Actually, no, we can do the whole thing right in the editor probably. If I just, how do we test this? If I go into like a signpost scene, I think. So the sign is probably, oh no, it's rendering totally fine. Oh, I know why it's rendering totally fine. Because we have the shader basically turned off. So I need to turn the shader on. Can I modify this directly in here? I probably can. Well, if I could actually click the right thing, I could. Okay, here we go. All right, so there's this global uniform bool workaround issue. I want to set this to false. No, maybe I want to set it to true. Okay, I don't know what this should be, but I think the editor is overriding it. So we got to probably change it over here. If expand and we're not doing this. Ah, okay. So that's probably half of the issue. And the other half is probably this. Yes. Okay, so there's our really tiny sign. But then we don't have... whatever. We'll figure this out. All right, let's turn off the particles as well. All right, so what I think we can do, and I'm not positive about this, but there's a texture size function, which apparently isn't even here. Where is that? Oh, it's in the common stuff. Is it a pixel density thing on Mac? Oh man, so it's apparently just you can't rely on the output of texture size. I filed a whole issue here, and someone who works on Godot quite a lot said you're just not supposed to use texture size, which is pretty sucky. And apparently the way around this is you just pass it in as a uniform. But actually, I want to try something else here that could potentially work. So if we open up common shader functions here, and I change, instead of texture size, what if we did this? We did vec2 text size equals texture pixel size. Can we do 1 divided by? You probably can't do that, can you? Redefinition. I don't care about that. And now what? This is problematic because it says unknown. Wait, what? That doesn't exist? Texture pixel size. Oh, we got to pass that in? Okay, sure. Oops. Okay, let's just pass that in as the first thing. This is probably going to break all the other shaders that exist. And draw outline is called, no, it's only expand UVs. Expand UVs is here, so we pass in texture, pixel size. All right, so did it work? Maybe. What language is this? This is essentially GLSL, which is the, I don't remember if the L stands for library or language, but like graphics library shader language. Something like that. Yeah, it looks like it worked. I don't know if it actually did everything we needed to do. Any other place that we call expand UVs needs that same thing, which is I guess only here, and we can just pass in texture pixel size. Man, if this works, I guess great, but technically we're at the behest of floating point precision. Because if you have a number like 0.25 and you do 1 divided by 0.25, it's going to be 4. But if you have 1 divided by like some very, very tiny value, it's going to come up with another value, but will it be correct? Or will it be like some number of pixels off? And yeah, I don't have the answer for that. But did this fix everything in the game? Yeah. Yeah, everything looks good. Oh, this just feels so hacky. Yeah, this is super hacky. Also, do we only pass in the texture so that we can get the size? Texture. No, we also needed to sample the texture. All right. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It's probably gonna work for most of this, but it's not guaranteed. And we check based on certain pixel positions here. So okay, when would this be bad? I guess we use a very large texture. Let's try it out then, right? Why not? So let's take some gigantic texture. Let's just go find any .png we have. In fact, let's pick something very large that has distinct boundaries. So maybe this. Yeah, this is huge. Okay, and then we'll just add in the outline shader on this. I think it worked. Delete me. Yeah, I think it worked. How big is this picture? It's large, at least for the game. 1344 by 592. So 1 divided by 1344. 0.00744. What do we do if we're like a pixel off here? We're just setting the color to this. Otherwise, we're trying to sample, but we might try to sample from a spot that doesn't exist, which might just result in it being blank anyway. In fact, what does this code do? What if I just deleted this? What if I just did that? What happens? I think it changed. I don't really know, but I think it did. Where'd that code go? Common shader. Where's the script view or something? Yeah. Yeah, so if I do this versus this, Okay, well, that's a little weird, right? We don't see that everywhere. But maybe that's because that tile doesn't exist and this one's explicitly gray. I do find that weird. Let's open that up. Hey, Sarah. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Open with GIMP. Oh, that is transparent, and this is just not transparent. Okay, so that's not a problem then. Spit off screen. I'm like, ugh, Sarah's here. Hate that person. I'm beginning to think this code does nothing. Yeah, let's run this. Things are going well. We're tackling a problem I definitely don't want to be tackling, but if it turns out to be this one line of code, then I will grin and bear it. All right, now we got to change. Now we got to change this. All right, so I change it to this and that. And then we rerun this and we compare these two things. So any obvious differences that anybody sees here? Yes. Here we have a border on the left side, but we don't have it over here. Interesting. And I'm guessing the same thing. Yeah, on the right side, we have a white border there. Can I take a picture of both of these things? Yeah. And then just combine them all. Okay, cool. So now we can just look at it like this. In fact, I could just paste it in a GIMP and probably just put them next to each other at this point. Yeah, let's just copy that. Put this over here. Okay, as far as I can tell, that's the only change. Is just, did we outline the outside of this? And the whole point is to outline the outside of it. So whatever we've ended up with is bad code. Yeah, so we can't just do this. We do need it to figure out. Wait, or maybe we're just sampling in the wrong spot? No, we're setting the alpha to 0. The alpha being set to 0 must have something else to do in here, right? Expand UVs. And then we're only ever mixing colors and not changing the alpha anymore. But that doesn't make any sense. That means that the alpha is not going to be 0 outside of the texture. Huh, interesting. Yeah, interesting. That doesn't seem right to me. What if we specify some super large number here? Would that even help us? I guess I should make a custom shader if I'm going to do that. Oh God, this is all very difficult. All right, let's try a custom shader really fast. How do we make a new one of these? New shader. Yeah, sure. Call it delete me. I don't really care. All right, so we want to sample. I want to say color equals texture UV. That's going to just take the color we have right now. But now we're going to add some like wild number to this. Vec to 999,999. Now it should all disappear. Good. But then what we're going to do is we're going to say if color.a is greater than 0, then color equals vec for 1, 1, 1, 1. So it'll just be bright white. And it's not. Hey, Lily. The outside borders are outside the texture. What do you mean? Are you talking about just comparing to these things? Because yeah, I know that we're not rendering white over here, but we are on the other one. But oh, I just deleted something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I wanted to see though is when we sample from outside of a texture, do we get an alpha that's 0? And the answer is yes, we do. So that means that we're not always setting the alpha. Oh no, we are always setting the alpha to 0. So wait, what's going on then? If it's not within the boundaries of the texture, then set it to 0. Otherwise, get the color. Oh, maybe this is a pixel that exists and just isn't. Ah, drat. I should duplicate this. We can't duplicate that. All right, let's add a node 2D and then set this as the root and then duplicate this. So this is going to be the one with the outline shader, and this is going to be the one with the test shader. And the outline shader one we're going to load in outline. Except for that probably did that for both of them, didn't it? Yes, because I need to make this unique. And then give this the test shader. Quick load, test shader. Okay, cool. All right, and then turn this off. So yeah, we're not rendering the left side of this. And I had some reason for why I thought we could get this to work. Oh, it was that maybe this exists and it's just somewhat transparent. But no, that doesn't seem to be the case. Unless, hold on a sec. We should just turn this code off. So what we're seeing here is this. To the left of that, whatever orangish colored line, we've got like 1 pixel of stuff. So what if I change back to the old code? Okay, so that I see what's going on. So we're sampling the texture at its very boundary and then using that same color. But that probably doesn't even exist there. Or does it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't totally know. I guess I got to write this down. So if we just have this code, then we end up seeing... Why does it keep going back to this? We end up seeing another column of pixels to the left. Oh, wait a second. This is something you can control with the settings of the shader, I think, or how you pass in the, like we have repeat set to inherit. I don't know what that means. Is it disabled or is it enabled by default? I need to look at probably the project settings, I guess. Repeat. Oh, it's disabled. Okay, never mind. I was going to say if it was set to repeat, we'd start sampling outside of the boundaries and just get whatever the edge pixel was, I think. The pixel will be the same as the last pixel inside the texture. You can try setting a thicker width. But the part I don't understand is it's sampling outside the boundaries, right? So like if I do this, it's gonna draw a larger thing there. But then if I go back to this code, which I guess commenting this out shouldn't matter at that point. Like, why is it doing this? Why isn't it being black? Because this texture function is a texture sampler, and then this texture is the passed in thing that we want to have sampled. And we're specifying a UV that's out of bounds. So let me look at this again. We take in the UV. We then add in what was modified here. We remap the vertex to expand it. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. So that's why we need to know that this is out of bounds. But we don't actually need to... Do we need to clamp this here? Or can we just let the texture do the clamping, basically? We might still end up with a weird edge. Hey, Lacquer. Welcome in. How do we even do this, though? With the vertex coordinate plus half of the texture size? divided by the texture size. So it's still gonna be in the range 0 to 1. What causes that to be vertex coordinate equals vertex plus dot xy and delta, where delta is the line width. 10. So we had, okay, so let's think about this. We had a 32 by 32 texture. Then we'll go from negative 16 to 16. And if we say the line width is 10, we'll actually go from negative 26 to 26. So then we get into this function and we see this thing. And the vertex coordinate is set to whatever this expanded number is. Okay, so we might be at, let's say, like negative 26 at the time. So we do this plus the texture size. The texture size is going to be 32. So we're going to add 16, and then we're going to divide by the texture size. And that gives us something that's within the range of... Wait, that's in the range negative 1 to 1 then. Oh, this is the most confusing thing. Yeah, in this case, we set it at an alpha of 0. Why do we divide then? This is the fragment shader. I guess I need to look at my notes for this. What is the UV in the fragment shader? No notes yet. How nice. Okay. Well, let's go take a look at it. Normalized texture coordinates ranges from 0 to 1. So these are normalized. I mean, I guess I might as well write that down here. UV normalized texture coordinates in the range 0 to 1. Hey, Lloyd. How you doing? Lloyd, I checked out your SoundCloud yesterday. I liked some of the stuff I heard. The game it's for is, or at least 2 of the tracks, is very different from the kinds of games I ever would have looked at. Oh, also one other thing. There's some Japanese term, and part of it is AI, and you ended up with an AI tag on your music as a result of that. I don't think you want that. That's on your SoundCloud, so just FYI. I'm doing well. We're trying to figure out shader stuff right now. I have a working solution, but I want to fully understand this. And I think the thing I don't understand is we're taking whatever the vertex is. Okay, what is the vertex then in the vertex shader? Vertex is in local space, meaning you have 16 by 16, it'll range from negative. So it'll be a negative number potentially. That's the part I don't understand. Vertex chord can be negative here. Oh, wait, maybe I did it in the wrong direction? Instead of... Sine negative 1, no, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get how this math works out then. So vertex chord, like I said, we could have negative 26 in here, but the UVs are supposed to be normalized. Are we doing something after this when we go to sample? No. No, it's okay. I was just surprised as all. Yeah, I don't see what's wrong here. Unless... No, yeah, I don't see what's wrong here. All right, like I said, texture size will be... I guess texture size will be 32. Oh, we're going to divide by 2 first and then add them. Yeah, so we get negative 10 divided by 32. It was actually different from what I thought originally, but I don't get why sampling that works. Yeah. I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. All right, well, let's try something else here then really fast. Let's say if uv.x is less than 0, then color equals vec for 1 0, 0, 1. So it'll just turn it bright red. Well, that's bizarre. What? So confused. Maybe my notes are wrong? I said this is -8 to 8. Huh. And I'm doing this based on the vertex, right? Yeah, vertex. I'm so confused by this. Okay, let's look at the documentation. Documentation shouldn't be wrong. And then let's look at vertex. So I want to see what it is inside the vertex shader. Here it is. Presented in local space, pixel coordinates relative to node 2D's origin. Shaq, I think you told me how to pronounce your name. Let me look this up. Yeah, Shaq. Okay, I said it right. All right, welcome. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. And hello, Shaq. All right, presented in local space, pixel coordinates relative to node 2D's origin. If not written to, these values will not be modified and passed through as they came. User can disable built-in modeled world transform. So presented in local space, pixel coordinates relative to the origin. Yeah, so they can be negative then. So I was right about this. So confused. Texture function expects texture coordinates for the UV, so it makes sense to accept negative values when the texture can have them. Retrieves texels from a texture, samples texels from the texture bound to S. I see. So that's the thing we're sampling. At texture coordinate P, an optional bias is included. That's not needed. For shadow forms, I don't know what a shadow form even is. For non-shadow variants, the array layer comes from the last component of P. Hey, bro. Makes sense to accept negative values and the texture can have it. Why can the texture have negative values though? Like what if we always sampled at... What if we did something like color equals texture and we passed in a vector that was like -5, -5? So it picked black because presumably that's the color at the halfway point in the middle of this. I don't know how we'd easily figure that out. I guess we need to load this up. Let's close this. Close view. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, so we know the coordinates of this, right? This is 1344 by 592. So if we divide each of these by 2 and then go to that pixel coordinate, 672 by 296. 672 is right there. 296 is down here. 672. God, this is so hard. 296. Okay, so it's right there. So if we add 2, then we'll get like a bluish color. Wait, how do we do this? Let's just do 0, 0. That should be the color I had selected. No, I don't know what I'm doing. What have I done? Or maybe it's considering 0, 0 to be this. In which case, if I sampled from that pixel 12, 6, then maybe it would be bright white. Aha. Well, that makes even less sense then. So hold on a second. If I wanted to be red, let's say, I just picked this number, 376, 312. 376, 312. No. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, I didn't just make up a number, did I? 376, 312, yeah. And it didn't turn red. Why wouldn't we ever, whenever we pass the texture? Because it should be in the range 0 to 1. Because UVs are only in the range 0 to 1. Do you need to divide all this by the texture size anyway? For low numbers, it may have been lucky that it'd be similar. But for a low number, it doesn't make sense how that could have been outside the range 0 to 1. Like, we should be able to only pass in things like 0.25, 0.25. And this color is probably exactly what's at the halfway point over here. So we divide by 4, 336, 148. We go over to that. 336. Like right there. And then 138 is right there. Wait a second. Why is it so hard? 336, 138. This? Yeah, I think that's what that should be, but I don't think that's what it was. No, it's a greener hue than this. Is there some kind of texture wrapping happening? There could be, but I have it set to disable. All right. I am confused by many things here. Oh wait, we're expanding UVs and stuff though, so that's what's messing this up. I just said this is 0, I think. No, that doesn't change anything. All right, I just have no idea what I'm doing. That's the problem. Yeah, I guess something else we could try here really fast. Let's try to get like that green color. It's 17, 18. So 17, 18 would put us at those coordinates, which I then plug into the common function thing that we have here. And we see what that looks like. Oh, that was green. What am I not understanding then? Did I get the wrong coordinates? No, I don't think so. Because I did this divided by 4. Oh, it's 148. Wait. I thought it was 138. I think I might have just written the wrong number. 336 by 148. 336 by 148. Is that a greenish color? It offset a little bit. It is. Oh, yeah. Then I understand what's going on. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. The UVs passed in are normalized in the range 0 to 1. And it's just exactly a fractional component of whatever we see here. So to get that green pixel, wherever that was, this thing, we sampled it exactly a quarter way through this entire very large texture. So if I want that red coordinate, the red thing on the mushroom there, God, it's so hard to zoom like this. Let's just take that pixel. This is 358, 309. So we do 358, 309. We get these numbers. We paste them in here. We put a comma there, join the two lines, delete this, and we'll see bright red. Yeah. All right. So then negative numbers don't make sense here. That's the part I still don't get. So if I sample something like negative and then that number, it's white. That's what I'm not understanding here. Like it's outside the texture, so shouldn't it just be completely transparent? Because the reason why we saw that the left boundary turning white is because I had the proper code here. But why I thought that shouldn't happen is because I have texture repeat turned off. Like if I turn texture repeat on, we should see red again, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I need to do something else here. Or maybe I'm just totally wrong about this. Mirror? No, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, wait, no, because this is a mirror would be, okay, I can't just do negative. I need to do 1 minus this. 1.0 minus this, or negative 1.0 minus this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just turn this off. Does it just take the last pixel and expand it? Or maybe texture already clamps to the texture? Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, maybe it does. Where's that page? Textures from the texture, bias, non-shadow variance. This doesn't say anything else. Oh, that's too bad. GLSL sample texture out of bounds. What happened? Sampler. Oh yeah, this is just a brief, easy read. Okay, let's see if we can find it. All right, this is fine. Texture lookup functions. Access the texture referred to by the sampler, several kinds of functions, texture coordinates, maybe normalized or in textile space. Normalized means that the size of the texture maps to the coordinates on the range 0, 1. This allows the texture coordinates to be independent of any particular texture size. Textile space texture coordinate means that the coordinates are on the range 0 to size. Rectangle textures always take texture coordinates in textile space, unless otherwise noted. Okay, so this is not how Godot works, at least. They always do it in the 0 to 1 range. Or at least I think so. Hey, Jedi. Texture lookup. All right, I'm not sure. I don't think this really matters. I think we're just going to do 1 divided by whatever and call it a day. Yeah. All right, so we just, oops, I'm trying to just select this line. There. That should fix everything. Yeah. And that makes the game look great. So I guess we just use this. Yeah, and I just go delete the other stuff. Maybe I should write a note about this, that I don't know what happens when you call texture on negative coordinates. Look at GL texture wrap. Godot must be using one of these. Oh, I guess wrap is different from repeat. Yeah. Yeah. I thought these were the same. But that's true. These are different. All right, so let's look through the Godot code base and search for GL texture wrap. Clamp to edge. I'm just looking at some random file. But anyway, if that is what's really being used, then that would make sense. Because what would that mean? That means that if we go outside the boundaries, we're always going to get the last pixel, which is what we saw. Which would mean, okay, hold on. We can go a step further here, right? We could say that if we want to get a green pixel here, we just need the Y coordinate to be, hang on. All right, let's go with 25. So 25 divided by 592 is that. We put, oh, I deleted it already. All right, fine, we'll put it back. Color equals texture vec2. So that, no, that's a Y coordinate. So the X coordinate can now be anything. Like if we set this at negative 1,000, then we'll now see green on the screen. Aha. Aha. Okay, so how would you change the clamping function? It's got to be done through C++ in this case. I don't think we can change it. But let's look it up anyway. Godot change texture, what's it called? Wrap? Texture wrap mode. Hey, Patootie, thanks for the resub. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. It's a good one. Just put that in the game. How you doing? How you patootying? So wait, clamp is one of these. So they do have a way of changing this. But how does this work? Is this C++ code? Add-ons, shader inspector, wrap mode editor. Wait, you can change this right in the shader? Map UV wrapping. Oh, they code it directly in here. But that wouldn't do anything if you're just going to pass it in a texture anyway. What? Doing well. Been in interview mode for the past week. Had an interview every day with this week. Well, it's pretty good. I don't know how easy it is to come by interviews, but I just talked to a friend of mine who was asking me about the process, and I shared everything I knew. But I mean, I haven't interviewed now for what, 5 years, and she hadn't interviewed for like 12 years or something. And yeah. Okay, this is perplexing, to say the least. Got a final round. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome. I hope it goes well. Knock it out of the park. Get some rest this weekend. The only thing this is going to do is set some uniform, right? I think that's what it has to do. I mean, I don't see where it's connecting this code, but possibly it's, I don't know, somewhere in there. Am I missing something? Is there another folder I should have looked at? No, it should all be in here, right? Yeah. Why don't I see the word uniform anywhere? How are they even passing this to the shader? Oh, there it is. What? Okay, I'm definitely missing something. The mode is passed in. Oh, but nothing uses this shader. So then this example shader must have the mode there. And then it takes a uniform in and it calls it with the mode. Yes, that is what's happening. Okay, great. So then I understand what's going on there. But what I don't understand is how are they overriding whatever texture does by default? Seem to just be transforming the UV based on the mode. Yeah, but how would you get around clamp mode? Like one of the things that they have here in their modes is to make the UVs go from -1 to 1. But if texture is clamping it anyway, then it would just put it in a range of 0 to 1. So it wouldn't even work. Although they're calling a different function from what I'm calling. Texture LOD. Where's that? It's not there. Is it here? No. Where does that exist? Can't stick around. I saw you were here and then my sub renewed. Hope all is well. Hopefully be able to stick around sometime soon. No worries, no worries. I really hope it does go well. I wish you the best on your interviews. Allows you to specify a level of detail, but that's what texture does. Change and texture and texture LOD calls to texture wrapped. Oh, it is here. Where is this? Shader functions. Where was I? Shading language. Why did I find this? Where are the functions here on this page? Oh, there they are. Wait, no, that's a different thing. Built-in functions. Ah, got it. Got it. Okay. Offended badly and unfollowed. Thank you for the resub. Happy 5. Performs texture lookup from the texture bound to sampler with an explicit level of detail. So this must not have the same wrapping as texture does. I am quite confused by that. Okay, wait. Going back a step though, all the way to here. How to change image texture of a sprite? How can I change the texture? How do I? Nobody talks about this. Yeah, nobody talks about this. All right, let's search through their issues. Huh. I don't see it as an open issue or anything. Someone have it as a closed issue? I'm not going to go through all 6 pages of this if I'm not going to find it through just Command F. I've got to be missing something. There's got to be some way to customize this. Or else nobody's ever cared about this. I don't believe that nobody's ever cared about this. So where do we write this? Texture is something that you can do anywhere, right? Like this is just a function that you can call and you can sample the texture from wherever you want. So I guess we should write this in built-in functions or something. Built-ins, shader, flipping a sprite. Why is this in built-ins? Fragment shader. I guess I'll just write one for functions here. Samples a texture at a given coordinate. I'm just going to write note. It seems like the default GL texture wrap mode used is to clamp. Clamp is one of these, right? Sets the wrap parameter for texture coordinate S to either GL clamp or GL repeat. This code did never have the word clamp in it, did it? Well, I mean, it did, but anything that they didn't define themselves. Text equals clamp. No, yeah, they didn't do anything. Indeed. It's a clamp, which means that if you sample negative coordinates, for example, that they'll just be clamped back into the 0, 1 range. It just does the default behavior, even if it's negative. Well, okay, so maybe I'm not being clear here, but oh, darn it. Hang on a second. Okay, so texture takes in a sampler and then a vector, right? So what I'm saying is if texture is the thing doing the clamping, then you could never pass in, let's say, -1, -1, and have it do anything different from passing in 0, 0. So that's the part I don't get. How would they ever override the clamping behavior? Because they have some logic here that puts it in the range -1 to 1. But like this wouldn't matter if it's all getting passed through the texture thing that's clamping it anyway. And yeah, that's what I don't get. Maybe it has to do with this stuff that they're doing. Query LOD and texture LOD. Still passing something that'll get clamped. That mode in their code is called clamp. No, what I'm getting at it. Okay, I might not be understanding you. That's definitely possible. But I might also not be clear. They have 2 modes that clamp, but they clamp in different ranges. This one clamps from 0 to 1, and this one clamps from -1 to 1. Wait, no, never mind. They're clamping the absolute value of this. What? So they're only ever clamping from 0 to 1. Okay. I don't know what they're doing. UV equals clamp the absolute value of UV. Isn't this literally the same thing as case 1? right? That can't ever produce other values. Okay, well, whatever. I'm gonna keep this for my notes then. It seems the default texture wrap mode is used as to clamp, which means that if you sample negative coordinates, they'll just be clamped back in the 0, 1 range. All right, so going back to this code that we have here, the reason why we can't just set the color equal to the texture at any given point is because we're gonna always wrap around the edges and take whatever parameter or whatever color we had there. That would work if we had a 1 pixel transparent boundary around the whole thing. But I don't think it's worth changing all of our textures to add a 1 pixel transparent boundary around everything. So basically, it's impossible to sample from outside of a texture. In other words, it's impossible to sample from outside of a texture since this will just be clamped anyway. Yeah. Okay, so then what's the key thing here? It's figuring out whether we're inside or outside of the texture. And yeah, the only way to do that is to know the texture size. And the only way to do that is either this hack that we have here or to pass it in as a uniform. Now, the texture size should never change, so passing it in as a uniform is doable and technically more correct than what we're doing, but it's also more work. Do you ever consult ChatGPT? No, not really. Because if I can't find it by doing internet searches, I don't trust that ChatGPT is going to know any better than I do. Yeah. Like I would need references. And that's essentially what I'm trying to look for when I have my notes. Like you'll see the word reference all over the place so that later we can always point back to that and not just be like an AI told us. All right, well, anyway, this works as long as we don't have any precision errors. So how many bits are used for floating point numbers on a GPU? GLSL floating point precision. There are different modes, I think, for this, and I think you can specify it in the shader. God, if I remember correctly. So you can basically say like, I want more precision for tiny numbers versus I want to use very large numbers. And there's some like hint to the shader that lets you do that, I think. Yeah, type qualifiers. Precision qualifiers. I remember these from Botland. Are not supported, blah, blah, blah. High P, medium P, and low P. They have no semantic meaning or functional effect. What? What does this sentence mean in combination with there are some qualifiers you can specify if they have no meaning or functional effect? What? Did they ever talk about this on the page? No. GLSL, high P, medium P. Is this only for OpenGLES? Might be. 1 is clamp, 2 is mirror, and 3 is mirror once. Yeah, but mirror once is just clamp, I think. I don't think I understand how that's any different. Oh, wait, no, I guess I see. It's saying that as your UVs go negative, in the range of negative, in a range of 0 to -1, they'll be mirrored onto 0 to 1. Okay, I see. So it's basically how it's clamping. Then anything below that is going to get wrapped. Yeah, all right. That makes sense. So they're still always specifying UVs in the range of 0 to 1, it sounds like. Anyway, I don't have a good answer for this. What's the smallest realistic number we can represent on GLSL? Floating point range or precision? It's not really, it's precision I want, not the range. I know we can represent the number from 0 to 1. I want to know how many decimal points we can have. I don't know what to even search for to find this, apparently. Like Mantissa or something. All it's showing is OpenGL ES stuff. God. Precision modifiers? These exist even here? What is the default? Do they mention? No. Possible to add precision modifiers to data types. Use them for uniforms, variables, arguments, and varyings. Oh, full float. Okay, so 32 bits. So we're using 4 bytes to represent a float. That still doesn't exactly tell me how much we can represent in the range of 0 to 1. Because, like, is there a difference between this, for example, and this in the shader? Because at some point there won't be. And with JavaScript, it's very easy to find a point where this is true when you get to high numbers. If you type something like this, and then you add 1 to it. Okay, well, that works. But if we add some more 9s, it'll eventually just not work. Yeah, in fact, it already didn't work. It can't represent this number in JavaScript. So you type it and it turns into a different number. So same thing, if you were to subtract from this. I can't even copy it for some reason. There we go. This -5, for example, it thinks it's the same thing. I guess because this is getting, yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so what happens when I get a texture size that's too large that then makes the floating point number too small that I then can't represent, and I break something, and what would break? And that's what I'm trying to figure out here. We do 1 divided by a very large, or no, a very small number, which would give us a very large number, which would give us a texture size that is possibly too small or too large for our actual texture, which then means when we're going through this that we might run into the wrong if statement, I guess. So we're either going to make, okay, yeah, I guess that's the answer. We're either going to make some pixels transparent that shouldn't be at the very edge of our texture, or we're going to make some pixels outside of the texture be filled when they shouldn't be. And at that point, we've broken this. So I should probably just write a note about that. Don't use this with incredibly large textures. And then we only did this to get around this one tiny issue. How fun. All right, so let's go write a note about the issue that I filed. Where is that? Here it is. And I'll make a troubleshooting section here. Troubleshooting texture size doesn't report an accurate size. I filed an issue here on Godot. There are some visualizations here. Small float. Where's high float? Wait, these are all small floats. They don't even talk about, oh, interesting. Okay, well, anyway, whenever we run into a problem, I guess that's why we do this. All right, I filed an issue here on Godot. The basic problem is that texture size can't be trusted, and the Godot maintainers discourage its use. For small enough textures, maybe we'll copy this. This is vec2 texture size texture. Texture is typically a built-in. Yeah, that we have like this. So this is the code that you would have. I guess we'll write it like this, GLSL. Don't do this. Don't trust these results. And then if I go into read mode, I'll go reading view. Yeah, it highlights it. Okay, cool. All right, so discourages use. Instead, they recommend passing the texture size as a uniform. While that will certainly work, a much easier route is to take the inverse of texture pixel size. GLSL. Paste that in. Problem here is floating point precision. It seems that Godot will use 4 bytes for floating point numbers. Yeah. So for very large textures, it's possible that this size either over or undershoots the correct values. Which will cause, it's not really undefined behavior. It's very defined. You could know exactly how much it'll over or undershoot by if you knew what size your texture is supposed to be. I'll say unexpected behavior. Yeah, it's not really undefined. Depending on how you use the resulting text size. All right, what is this? What does this bring us to? So I'm gonna just do this thing. I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. All right, delete this. And I guess right in here that this is tabbing stuff in. I want to use spaces. Convert to spaces. Oh wait, I didn't even modify this, did I? I technically did. I only really need to do this part though. I need to pass in texture pixel size for anywhere that uses expand UVs. All right, let's pass it in next to texture then. Yeah, which means that the glowy shader needs the same thing. Which means that expand UVs needs to be changed. And then we write a comment here for why Godot hates me. We'd like to be able to just use this line of code. But Godot issue, I'll just link the whole issue. Says we shouldn't use that. I'll just say that this exists. Instead, we take the inverse of texture pixel size as a hack. I wonder what it would take to just specify the uniform though anyway. It shouldn't be that hard maybe. We have a node with a shader. All we know is it's a canvas item. We know it's going to have a texture in it at some point. I don't know. I'm kind of just hoping this bug gets fixed. I'll probably comment this on GitHub as well. All right, let's finish looking through this stuff. So just delete this and probably this. Move all to trash. Common shader functions had to change a little bit. Why did this code change? Oh, because I turned tabs into spaces? No, there's an extra space here now. Now none of that's changed? No, there's still a change here. There, okay. Solve that. This is fine. That's just the new comment and everything. This just passes in the new variable, and then this needs to be the way it used to be. And same thing down here, up here. Okay. Hey, Vintage. How's it going? And thanks for the raid. I followed you. I must have checked out your stream. But I unfortunately forgot. Oh, you were making the horror game, right? And you said you didn't like horror games, if I remember correctly? I hope I'm remembering the right person. Okay, good. Whew, okay. I was going to say something as a result of that. But now I can't remember what it is. I'm sorry, my brain is all over the place. How's your game going? My dev is going... It's going well. We've solved some sort of tough problems today, I think. And now we got to see if everything's working. So let's go try running this. I guess we delete this stuff. Yeah, so in the editor, everything should look the same. And then when we run this, everything should look like what we're used to. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, man. That was a lot of work. Does the town hall look okay, too? That's probably our largest graphic that you can select. Yeah. And all the small stuff should look okay. The garbage slime, the chef slime. I guess crops. Oh, the signpost isn't working. The bulletin board, I mean. Wait, weird. Oh, no, you know what's happening? The new code is blocking. Yeah. All right, Kevin, this is the problem. The code for the instances manager, I think, is blocking the signs. Because if I hover over this up here, it works. All right, I got to fix that. I was going to push a new version. If you want me to fix that, just let me know. I don't mind doing it. But I got to do that before I push a new version. Mega bug, can't click in the bottom third of the screen. Because the new instances manager is blocking it. Actually, I could just figure out what's blocking it by doing this and then this. Yeah, let's see. Click. It is the scroll container. So this thing must have a size even though we can't see it. Let's find out what its size is. Is there no better way to do this? Never liked this. Oh, I found the right one on the first try. How nice. Yeah, its size is set to 530 by 336. Does it have a minimum size? No, it doesn't. So it just has a size even though it's not holding anything. Gave it a size by default and forgot to remove it. Oh, so easy fix then. In fact, I guess we can just path to that thing and find out. Instances manager, scroll container, and then delete its size, and then run. And hope that everything works exactly the same way it used to. Yeah, okay, so now we can click there. Now what happens if we create an instance? Oh, now it's in the middle of the screen. All right, I will leave that to you to fix, Kevin. Probably needs to keep the Y of the size. Now it's in the wrong X position. Yeah. Interesting. I guess we could... I don't know what we could do. And change the position. Okay. Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. I've been all over the place. But yeah, for anyone who's new here and hasn't actually seen the game, this is Skeleseller, and it's a laid-back town management game. You send adventurers in to do battle. They eventually win their battles, collect items. You put them in your shop. Then customers will go and buy them. And we got a demo on Steam right now. We're mostly prepping for Next Fest. I think the demo's been getting pretty good feedback. Or I should say pretty positive feedback. So I think we're now at the point where it's like, just polish the demo some more, get this in front of people, and then start chugging toward release. All right, so we're going to undo whatever I just did there. And then we're going to check in all of this stuff. Delete the delete me shaders, which shouldn't even be showing up again. I don't know why those did show up. Oh, maybe because they're saved inside of whatever editor is there and I need to reload the project and not have them show up again. I'm going to do that anyway, even though maybe it's not necessary. Nope, it's back. What is creating this? That's weird. Maybe I quit the project list and don't just reload. Yeah, it got created again. Okay, now if I reload, it definitely shouldn't be back. Right? Please don't randomly create that thing. Good. It's gone. All right, so we can finally check this in. Work around Godot shader bug. Am I on the right branch? Yeah. All right, so this makes it so that we can't trust texture size. I instead take the inverse of texture pixel size. Yeah. Okay, I'd love to test this change. No, I don't know how many Mac users there even are who are playing Skeleseller and who'd be on the newest OS version, because I think that's what it takes to get this to happen. Mac OS plus absolute newest version plus playing Skeleseller. And we kind of have an idea for how many Mac users there are if we consider these analytics. So, whoop, what happened? Huh, weird. You can't zoom in on some pages. Yeah. Anyway, you can see Mac users. I'm just going to estimate about 10%, right? About 10% of the players we had on itch. So if we extrapolate from there, oh wait, no, these are just downloads. So I guess these people aren't guaranteed to have opened it, and they're not unique users. So on itch, it would probably be about 100 people. Or sorry, on Steam. Most of my viewers are asleep, and I need to be too. All right, yeah. Thank you, Vintage, for the raid. I appreciate it. I wish you the best. I hope you have a good sleep and a good weekend too. I hope you have some fun plans. Yeah, thanks for dropping by. I play on Linux and Mac. Are you on the absolute newest version of Mac OS? Like if you go to About This Mac, does it say 15.4.1? Because that's what happened to me. I think yesterday I updated my Mac, then I opened up Skeleseller and everything was broken. Yeah. Okay. Out of curiosity, Jedi, do you mind opening Skeleseller on your Mac? Like, is that easy for you to do? You not played today? Yeah. Do you mind taking a look and then just clicking new game and click the very first dialogue, like, hey, I'm looking for a guild. And then if the signs look tiny to you, yeah, via Steam, yeah. Well, or itch, whatever you downloaded it through, it shouldn't matter. And if the signs look tiny to you, just let me know. Are the signs tiny or are they normal sized? And then if you have a save file you don't want to overwrite, quit as soon as you've done that. Because if you start getting through the tutorial, it'll overwrite your save file. Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Also an issue when the instances are minimized. Gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to push a new version today, but I will wait for this then. Kevin is on this, but it may take some time. Sounds good to me. All right. I don't think it'll affect too many people. Small update. I took the hacky/easy route of using the inverse of texture pixel size. I didn't need to update how what I've done. I need to get the texture in a certain way. It can be on anything. In sync between code side and the shader side. Yeah, in other words, this should have been capitalized. Texture, pixel size. I guess we can just copy paste the whole line. Why is there an extra space there? This will almost certainly break something for those. The reason I say this is hacky is because floating point precision should eventually make this number incorrect. Gee, if a texture is, say, 10,000 pixels tall, then texture pixel size will be, I don't want to type out the right number of zeros there. It'll be this, which it can represent. I guess it's not really a problem. Maybe we should have said like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Depending on how closely the float storing that can represent that number, you may or may not experience issues. How about we phrase that the other way around? All right, is this a comment worth writing? Took the hacky and easy route of using the inverse of texture pixel size so that I don't need to keep the texture size in sync between the code and the shader sides of things. In other words, this became that. The reason I say this is hacky is because floating point precision should eventually make this number incorrect. Yeah. All right. I think that a function being exposed through Godot that you can't trust represents a bug in Godot at some level. Whether that is that the documentation should tell you, hey, probably don't use this thing, or that Godot should do something under the hood with this thing, or that Godot should provide you an alternative function that you could use that would do this. Like, they have the texture already, so to not be able to get the texture size seems a little weird to me. Looks fine to you. What? Okay, then the only other question I guess is what kind of Mac are you on? Also, thank you for taking the time to test that. Give you a point for that. So like I'm on an M2 Max Studio or whatever it's called. What are you using? M2 Max Studio, M2 Ultra. Because maybe it has something to do with this or the rendering drivers for this or something. Actually, when I filed that bug, it copied a bunch of information from there, right? Multi-window Metal Forward Plus integrated Apple M2. MacBook Pro M4 Max. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's all that's needed. You don't need to get a screenshot. Oh man, it's just so crazy. It's some kind of driver issue, and Godot knew for whoops for I don't know how long, at least 5 months that you shouldn't be doing this. Or when was this from? September, so that's like 7 months. Sequoia 1541. Huh. Okay, yeah, thank you. Why wouldn't it happen for you then? I mean, I guess it's possible that they push some graphics driver thing just to certain Macs. I don't know if that happens or what. All right, well, we're done with that. Okay, let's do some easy stuff because I still want to stream for a little bit, but I think I've put in 6 hours. So yeah, let's just do easy stuff now. Oh, actually, this is probably worth discussing. And also filling out my journal completely, merged two BPRs, and worked around the shader issue. And then let's just get the link to that shader issue. Love to know what tab I'm even looking at here. This one. Okay. Yeah. So, discussion topic. I have been making shorts on YouTube for about 2 months now, I think. Let me mute this. It's already muted, apparently. Yeah, so I've made what? 9. And none of them have done like all that well, right? The best one got 16,000 views. The worst one got 1,500. That was the very first short. That was really bad. But the other ones, there's an average of, let's say, 5 or 6,000 maybe. I don't know, I'm just estimating 7,000. Those are not great numbers in terms of shorts. And even if we got, let's say, like, I don't know, 10 new players through each of those shorts, it's like, is it worth spending however long that takes? I don't know, 2 hours to get like 10 players? Maybe. I don't know. And I wonder what's the best use of my time if all I'm going to do is try to market the game. So Golden Gun had shared some ideas with me the other day, and I still haven't actually like fully looked into this yet. But they said they pretty much said make a new channel, flood it with clips. And then they said something like even just one demo session could give you like 20 clips from it. Post on TikTok and Reels. No one uses Shorts, but cross posts all Shorts, the more popular platforms. So, okay, here's my issue. Just to, I guess, be more transparent about this. It took a lot for me to even be okay making YouTube Shorts. Like, I think short form content is somewhat ruinous. I guess that's the most succinct way of saying it. Like, I think it's kind of destroying people's attention span and like ability to focus. and maybe to some extent their ability to form opinions on their own. But I'm not an expert in this stuff, so this is my own like knee-jerk reaction to all of this. So even getting to the point where I made YouTube shorts was like, it was a not a hassle, a hurdle. Right. So that's the other hand of this, right? Marketing, right? How much do I need to do? How much do I need to bend how I think in order to be okay with this? So one of the most hated sites in my mind, in my opinion, is LinkedIn. I despise this. I think it's the worst stupid site out there. And yet at some point, I was in CM Griffin's channel and he's like, if you're making professional content and you're not posting on LinkedIn, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. And so I went and made a LinkedIn account and I tried posting and I didn't really have success, but I also didn't stick with it. And up there with the sites I think are all kind of garbage are TikTok and pretty much everything Meta does. And I recognize this is all incredibly opinionated, right? So TikTok is YouTube without the long form content, basically. I know they have streaming. There's probably long form content. And Meta, I think just everything they touches turns into like, let's try to keep you addicted to a platform and get you negative about things. So Facebook, Instagram, and Reels are part of Instagram, right? So in my mind, like all of this is garbage software, and I don't want to contribute to it, and yet I have a game to market, so I don't really know what to do. Are you pushing those to subscriber feeds? I don't think that exists anymore. I know what you're talking about, but I don't think there's an option to say don't send this to people. Anyway, technically, it's trivially easy, I'm assuming, to put a YouTube short onto something like TikTok and see if it does well. So nothing's stopping me from a technical perspective. But yeah, then I'm contributing to this stuff. I mean, I already have the things on YouTube. I already have to cross that hurdle. So yeah, I don't know. Any solution is to delegate posting to socials. You're really only looking at a couple more % of your time to cross post everything everywhere. Well, the question isn't really, am I the one doing it versus is someone else the one doing it? I don't mind taking like whatever 2 minutes after making a 3-hour long video, or sorry, 2 minutes after spending 3 hours making a video, because those shorts aren't that easy to make. I don't mind doing that. It's the ethical hurdle of what does it mean for me to get TikTok, and then what does it mean for other people. Anyway, I'm kind of torn on that. I've already crossed the YouTube hurdle, so I feel like investing more in that is fine. Anyway, like I said, Golden Gun suggested that I just make a Skeleseller specific channel and I post a bunch of content there. I kind of want to try it just to see what happens. I would probably stop making these videos that I'm making. Do I still have this open? Yeah, so like this is advice I wanted to share with people. Little tips about various programs I use and just development philosophy. And I could probably make another like 10 of these videos without really having to stretch too much. Then I think it might get a little bit tougher. But is this doing anything for me? And I think the answer is no. I think I should stop making these. I wasn't trying to get subscribers on my YouTube channel or anything. And this worked pretty well for that. I got like 10% more subscribers than I had in total for that time. Just makes sense to put the content on the platform that'll give you 10 times the engagement. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, I'll write it down. It's worth considering. Jedi Potato suggests putting this stuff on TikTok and Reels. I'll think about it. God. I don't. It's not worth talking about this more. Okay, so yeah, I'll just write to think about this sort of thing. I'll put this here. And then I'll try to figure out what I'm going to do on Tuesday, because normally I'd wake up and be like, okay, time to come up with a script, and then time to record and figure out how I'm going to do this and make it entertaining and then edit everything. And maybe I still make a video, but maybe it's on a different channel or something. All right, so try removing camera from instance. Let's go do this. Like I said, I want to do some kind of easier stuff that we have here. So we have this camera. This is only used so that we can set the position to 0, and then we don't use it at all. So what if we just got rid of this? I'm going to reload this because the syntax highlighting is already broken. And then wherever we call this from needs to be changed, which I think is just instances manager. Instance slot. And we get rid of the camera from here, which we only fetched so that we could pass it in. So now that doesn't need a unique name. Although we could just keep it. Not why modify anything. It's not like it changes the performance or anything. Anyway, the sort of larger discussion this plays into is how do you make sure a game is successful? And at a high level, I think it boils down to two things. One, you make the game good, and two, you market the game. So can you market an absolute turd of a product? Probably not. I don't know. I think you'd probably get different opinions on that. Like, what's the worst possible game you could make? It's not fun. Nobody likes it. And how much success could you get just by marketing it a lot? And I don't know. There's a combination of these two things, right? And marketing the game could just be putting it on a platform that then markets it for you. Pokemon Scarlet. I haven't played Pokemon Scarlet, but I imagine that however bad you might consider that game to be, there are probably tons of people who had fun. Same thing with something like Civ 7. Like, these are games that even if they were rated poorly, in fact, let's find out. What do people actually think? Metacritic. Because this is probably, yeah, it said right there in the thing. 72 from the reviewers and 3.4 from users. Maybe that does fly in the face of what I was saying. It's hard to tell because I think when games have done poorly, that stops future people from buying them. But there is probably a flood of people who, before they read reviews, are like, oh, I want to get this game. And it happened with a lot of different games like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk. Probably Risk of Rain 2's expansion is falling into that content, maybe. Yeah, it sounds like Pokemon Scarlet. They can do it because they already have a huge following. Well, anyway, okay, so that's one aspect, and making the game good is another aspect. So this is on my radar no matter what. The market the game aspect, what I was thinking about is if you said I have a $0 budget for this, but you have, and not really, but you have infinite time, like what would you do? And if you had infinite time, you'd probably just, I don't know, go knock on every single person's door in the entire world and say, hey, have you heard of Skeleseller? You'd take the time to learn every human language, cultural norms. So I guess what I mean is like a lot of time. And yeah, it's probably make content. It's probably reach out to people. Maybe whatever, news publications, influencers, that sort of thing. So I wonder what other things should I be doing on my own? A new pull request. Okay, cool. I'll take a look at this in just a sec. It takes a long-term consistency and must be diversified, but it's crucial. Well, okay, so I kind of mentioned this before on, what is it? How to Market a Game or something, the Zukowski publications. The prevailing advice is just make a good game and let the algorithm take the wheel. And the algorithm in this case is Steam. But it kind of goes for any algorithmically driven site like YouTube as well. Like if you just make a good enough video, will you get viewers? And it pretty much boils down to if you hit metrics that the platform finds important. So on YouTube, it's probably capturing attention. On Steam, it's probably just having people spend money. But it's a conversion ratio of how many people enter this funnel to how many people get to the bottom of it. It's like, yeah, for YouTube is how many ads could we serve you? And I think that's good, but then there's this question of like, okay, how do you kickstart that funnel yourself? So yeah, I want to do a little bit more on that front, especially because if we do consider from now until maybe the launch of the game, like that's a good chunk of time that I could still spend doing this. The quote is the equivalent to if you build it, they will come. Then it works with lightning, bottle, luck, and perfect product. I don't think it's that wrong with if you build a very good game that people will play it on Steam. Think of what Steam wants to do. They want to make money. So if your game, if 100 people make it to your game site and 99 of them buy the product, like Steam will just put it in front of more people. This isn't like, hey, let's rely on the universe sort of thing. It's like, let's rely on Steam's incentive to make profit being aligned with your incentive to sell your game. I agree that if you just make something and put it out there, it's not just going to necessarily do well. Like Google has no reason to list your game higher than another search result, but platforms do. Like YouTube, if you make a great video, YouTube is incentivized to push it to as many people as possible. Anyway, the making a great game part is what I was saying is kind of like it's in your control. You can do market research and everything. But then marketing outside of that is something that is generally harder to do without having a budget. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how well this works. All right, so as long as we can start an instance here and not have anything go wrong, and I think we're good. Yeah, turns out the camera was never needed. We do set the position to 0, but we could do that even from the other node that we had. And I think it's 0 to begin with, and nothing ever moves it. So I don't think there's ever going to be a problem here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Actually, we could start a battle and have it be minimized. Let's try that out. So I click repeat, minimize this, and then maximize this. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so remove unnecessary camera. This just cleans up some of the code. Not too shabby. Once the ball is rolling, word of mouth, algorithms and platforms take over for sure. Marketing, in my opinion, is just what it takes to get as many people in the initial phase to help the product reach critical mass. Yeah, there certainly is a period on Steam where you don't even exist. And that's the 10 review mark. And if I had to guess, and Steam might have explicitly said this, if you can't get friends and family to push you above 10 reviews, then your game is not worth marketing at all. And I don't think that's unfair or anything. Like, how hard is it to get, a couple of friends to play your game, review it, and then find some random people on the internet if you need to pad it out? But that I don't think is like you need a marketing level of effort. I think that's just like go talk to a couple people which granted I recognize can count as marketing. All right, so we're done with this. Orphans with no friends. How many people do you think have the resources to make a game but don't have the resources to make friends? I don't know about hundreds of positive reviews, but I think it's probably easier to get some reviews from this. Like right now, it's not like I'm asking people to give reviews, and we have a total of 1 review. Yeah. So I think I'd probably need to push it a decent amount. AT time. You lost all your friends or you're busy developing the game. You lost your family. Some of my favorite games I bought after the fact based on word of mouth. Oh yeah, I definitely think word of mouth is good. I'm not, and there's no way to stop it, by the way. Whether a game is good or bad, people will talk about the good or bad game that they played. I don't think it's something you can rely on either way. And that you definitely need a critical mass of people playing. Like at some point, it's possible that I do hit some threshold and now people are sharing it with 3 or 4 people. Those people are sharing it with 3 or 4 people. But part of the reason I talk about this is I've been on Twitch now for a decade. And I remember early on, someone was like looking at the growth of the channel And they were basically like, oh, it's going up like this right now. So at some point it'll hit that like sharing threshold and it'll just keep rising and rising and rising. It's like that didn't really happen. It was more like a line, and then it kind of tapered up and down, maybe something like that. I don't know. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying I think the same thing could likely happen with the game, where it's like, oh yeah, people play it. They don't really talk to other people about it. It's kind of just a line. Some people left reviews, but they don't show up there yet. Not sure how the system works. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. There's no way for me to leave a review. Yeah, okay, so this is a little bit weird about Steam, and there's nothing we can do about this, just to be clear. The main page for the game does not have reviews because it's not launched yet. But I now separated out the demo page. So if you click learn more down here, you'll see the demo specific page, which does have a way of leaving reviews. And like I said, there's no way to get around this. I did not choose to make the learn more button do this. That's just a Steam thing. And the only way to get reviews on a demo page is to have it be separate from your main page. So there's beyond what I've done here, there's nothing else I can do. And yeah, that's that. And how many people know about this? How many people wanted to leave a review and couldn't figure it out or something? I don't know. But yeah, we only enabled it like a week ago, I want to say. So if you were looking for it a week ago and you knew all those things, then you wouldn't have been able to do it. Yeah. Yeah, and once the game is launched, there won't be any confusion because you'll just be able to leave a review on either page. Okay, let's look at this. This is hopefully a very easy change. So now we have a VBox container around the scroll container so that it gets sized back down. Okay. This is probably just how the diff is showing this, but this seems a little bit strange too. Handle drag scrolling? Was that not a thing before? Or did that exist somewhere else? Huh, I don't remember, but let's look that up. Instance manager. I'm not on that branch yet. Yeah, here's GUI input. This did the is dragging stuff and scroll. Yeah, so instead of this being GUI input, it's now on the scroll container. Okay, but then did the order of this stuff change? Yes, it did. Okay, so that's because this is private now. I see. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I think it's fine then. Curious how it would alter things if we asked more people to leave reviews. I'm not sure because you know how I said the whole like you don't exist until at least 10 reviews on Steam? I don't know if that's for the demo too, and then if I got those extra like 9 reviews, that all of a sudden it would start showing up in people's feeds or something, and then it would start building up. I'm not positive, but the reason I'm not super concerned about that yet is that when Next Fest hits, this is basically guaranteed to get 9 reviews. And at that point, then it'll be an even more polished version of the game. So the way I see it is there's almost a 0% chance we leave Next Fest with like, 3 reviews or something. And since that's only like a month and a week or two away, then I'll just leave it for that. Plus, I don't like manipulating reviews. If people want to leave reviews, they should leave them. If they don't want to, then they shouldn't leave them. I always thought this was funny though. Even Reddit has some like rule, hey, don't ever ask for upvotes. And I always thought, one, it's kind of unenforceable, but two, anyone who really wants to get promoted on Reddit is not going to follow that rule. So it's basically like, hey, the people who are going to follow it, let's punish them. I don't know if they've changed that since then. Hey, Easy, what's this product? This is Skeleseller, and it is a very casual town management game. You hire adventurers, you send them into battle, you earn items and then sell the items for money. Oh, I forgot the flags weren't showing up correctly either. Yeah. Oh, I don't even need to do that anymore. I can do this and then zoom in over here. Neat. Yeah, so we got a potion. We can go sell that potion over here. Thanks, Easy. As long as you're not using bots here on the light side. I think there are different amounts of light or dark side there. Like if you're violating the etiquette of a site, are you on the dark side? If you make like 4 sock puppet accounts, but you're manually controlling them, is that okay? And I don't know. Everyone's got a different threshold for that stuff. Check out 925. I'm also going to reload this. I doubt it matters. All right, so this fixes, I believe, 2 issues. The mega bug we had, and then also the ability to scroll by just dragging the mouse. So let's try them both out. Bug number... Oh, this doesn't have the shader problem. Oh my God. I'm like, why are the signs gone? All right, yeah, signs are still working. We should be able to click this from anywhere on the bottom of the screen. Yep, now let's try the right side. Yep, and yep. Okay, now let's start a battle. And let's still try clicking on the other sides of this. Still looks good. Minimize this and try clicking it here. Yep. Now close the battle and try clicking again. Good. And now start 3 battles. It's going to take time, so let's just click this. And then do this. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. This is great. Yeah. Now, what if we had this here? Yeah, I didn't think that would work. All right, cool. That is really good. I don't think I had any comments on the actual code or changes, right? Yeah, no, I think this is good. Thank you for fixing this and so quickly. All right, so squash and merge. And let's go to that issue I just filed. This, edit. Where is it? This, here it is. Oh, I didn't test the scroll wheel. We should do that really fast. Yeah, it still works. Nice, nice, nice. So that means we can push a new version, which will fix the issue for whoever has it on Mac. So this is done. This is done. This is done. We can now move it to Monday. So I do want to push a new version. I don't want to be streaming for too much longer. And I also wanted to fix a couple of other little things. Maybe it's just worth pushing the new version now. Yeah, is there anything that was super fast to do? No, not really. Oh, unless I wrote it down in the windy feedback. Let's take a look at this stuff. That's kind of fast, but I don't think it's worth doing right now. Actually, did I ever look at the waveforms for this? Maybe it is fast to do. Let's go take a look. Game, assets, audio, music, title theme, open with Audacity. Because I think that's what's causing people to just like, oh yeah. Whoops. We can already see that's pretty thick. I do want to install this, just not now. All right, there's the title theme versus the town theme. Yeah, it's like double the volume. All right, let's just go fix that now, right? Whoops. Is this easy enough to do? Title theme. I just want to see what it shows up as in OBS. That was peaking at like -20. Yeah, okay. I think I just want to lower this part then. If we were to sort of very unscientifically just draw a line here. Yeah, I think it's only a problem at the beginning. Yeah, okay. All right, unfortunately, we have how many different channels we got to do this for? The beginning has just pattern 1 filled out. Pattern 1 has clarinets, wind, violas, and drums are only at the very end. So just 3 of these. Clarinet, wind. There's, why is this called full brass? This modifies winds and violas. So the clarinet volume never changes. Except that there's this too. What is this? Okay, hold on a second. What? Is this turned off over here? Uh-oh. This says full wind sustained channel volume. This also says full wind sustained channel volume. So which one's actually controlling the volume? They're basically the same curve. One just has, yeah, one's slightly lower, I think. But still, I'm not sure which one's actually controlling it. So let's find out. So the very beginning of this, let's click here. There. Okay. At the very beginning of this, it should be increasing. It's not. I don't know what's going on. What if I just increase this like that? Okay, well that has no effect. So then this one must. Oh, I'm looking at the clarinet. Oh my God, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay. So wait, if we set this up higher, what does it do? Yeah, so this is doing nothing. As far as I know. Yeah. I think we can just delete this then. And what does this sound like? Oh, it's just 4 notes. Okay. So if we're going to lower everything else, we can just lower this too. 78. And what does that start at? 49. All right, so we want to lower everything. We can actually just lower the whole master volume, couldn't we? In fact, that's a much smarter way of doing this. Let's just do that. Oh, you can't do that. Maybe we can do it through the mixer then? Is everything being fed through the same channel? No, of course not. But we can make an automation event for this. And where does this stop? Right around the start of measure 7. Okay, so we just lower this down to there. And there. And then whatever this value was, copy it and paste it over to this. Okay, so how's that? Now it's peaking at about -25. I think that's good. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay, so let's take a picture of the old waveform here. Whoops. And then I'm going to export a new one of these. Let's save this. Export as, what have you been saving them as? Wave files? Yeah, wave files. Title theme, save, replace, sure, start. All right, that's going to take a little bit of time, but it's not too long. And then we got to go find that folder. Oh no, it might open it for us. Yep, it did. All right, so now we open this up in Audacity. And here is the difference. So now if we take a picture of this and draw a line across sort of the heaviest part of this here, I would say that is much more leveled throughout than it used to be. But we don't get that grandiose opening anymore, but that's okay. It won't make people immediately open the settings and then crank down the master volume. As long as we're at this, we might as well open up the other two as well. Town Theme 2 is a little bit louder, but I think we offset that in the audio player that we have. Audio player, music system. It's not actually this. Where do we do this? There's some... I don't know what I called this. If not audio or music. Well, let's search for Town Theme 2. All sound data. Oh, I see. We put the volumes right in there. So Town Theme 2 is lowered by 5%. But I didn't ever notice a problem with that. Town Theme 3 is lowered by quite a lot. And that one I think is still potentially too loud. I should have just normalized these on export. All right, well, whatever. Let's go put in a new version of this. Paste this over here. Replace. Okay, and now let's go launch the game. Whoops. So we turn up the master volume. And then go to the title screen. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think that's good. Yeah, cool. Cool. Glad to have made that change. Now, I do want to hear what the music level differences are for this, because it sounds like when the third track plays that it's a little too loud. We solo this. And we cut it down to 70% of the original volume. So if I add an effect, that's not how I'm used to doing things. I guess this is how I'm used to doing things. Amplify. All right, so we set this to... I don't know how we do this. There's no way to set percentage here. And I don't know if it's going to be the logarithmic scale or a linear scale if I do it by percentage. Yeah, I don't know. 2 will be perceived as being twice as loud. Okay, so it is the logarithmic scale here. Then I don't know what we need to set this to. Take care, Jedi Potato. And thanks for the suggestions. Yeah, I know the marketing stuff is important. I will think about it and hopefully come up with what's best for the game. This is going to be the start of me being a TikTok influencer. Stop being a game dev. Just start hawking energy drinks and whatever. Go against all of my principles. Oh, man. Will there ever be a point where influencers are just like, hey, here's literal poison. $5.99 per can. You too can hurt your health. All right, I don't know how best to test it. I guess we should make the audio player just switch to different tracks and just see if they sound roughly the same. We have play next track, and the music system is itself a node. So yeah, we should be able to do this. Skellergy. Tide Pods. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you can make money doing anything. Play next track. All right, let's try this out. Thank goodness I made a snippet for this. I just typed like 7 lines of code in 2 characters. All right, so we're just listening for relative levels of audio. So I'm gonna stop talking for a sec. Yeah, it is a smidge louder than the others. So let's lower it a tiny bit and try that. And then I want to listen to a little bit more of the track to see if it ever gets too quiet. Okay, I think the leveling is good. Well, by the way, when I start talking, it ducks, so you won't be able to hear it at the same volume. Yeah, I think it's good. Let me keep an eye on that. I don't want to have to remake all of the music just to get it kind of normalized. This is still a little louder than the other ones were, though, even after lowering it by 5%. But still, let's check this in, do it in stages. Okay, so that UID changed. This we get rid of. So it's really just the volume level on that and then the wave file. Oh, instant slot is even part of this. Just get rid of this too, I guess. Oh, am I in the wrong branch still? I am. And I was going to say I need to... No, it just worked. Nice. Lower... How about we just fix up the title of screen one? Normalize title theme better. I made the first 7 measures quieter through FL Studio so that people don't reflexively reach for the volume sliders as soon as they open the game. And then this is lower volume of track 3. It's still a little louder than tracks 1 and 2, I think. But at least it'll be less so now. We could lower that number some more. I just don't want to keep testing this too much. I'll just do it in stages. I have not tried cursor yet, no. All right, so let's go push a new version of the game. So this is done. Try clicking NPC. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to fix some of these things. Okay, yeah, let's just go push a new version. Releasing project.godot version 078. Yeah. Bump game version to 078. Cool. Now we go build and export. Build. Wait, what's it called? Export all builds from Godot. Yeah. All right, not too shabby. Today's been a pretty productive day, I gotta say. Oh, you know what? I just realized. I don't know if Kevin thought of this either, but you can technically minimize your first battle and then never have to watch it. We might want to stop that. That should be easy enough to do. Either way, we're not pushing this to the general public yet. That feature is going to be behind a feature flag. Yeah, I probably should write a note about that, huh? We should probably prevent people from minimizing a battle window during the tutorial. All right, just waiting for this to be done. I'm going to do this. Still the Steam thing open up here, although it doesn't have the command anymore. All right, so that's finished. Let's try running it. All right, turn that down. We could just load the game, right? The game is dull. I don't think people would complain, but I think they will be like, what does that button do? All right, yeah. We can't control this. Cool. So quit. That's looking good. Oh, and the signs were looking good and everything too, right? I should run that again. I don't think I saw anything wrong. And I'm pretty sure I clicked the portal and I would have noticed if something was wrong there. Yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to test? I don't think so. That's really the only change we're pushing this for. All right, so upload to itch, upload to Steam. Yep, let this up run, push the new build, and then write the patch notes. By the way, this is my phone background. Hey, the color's all washed up. There we go. Abby sleeping. All right. Oh, it just installed an update, which means it doesn't actually do anything. Gotta wait for this to finish. It's pretty fast. I don't know why it's doing this though. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I thought I had like 5 or 6 of those. Okay. We're good. Now let's go put this online. Default preview 078. Gotta go on my phone now and confirm it. And we're done. All right, it's on Steam. Now we just gotta push release notes, which I don't think we did a whole lot. So this should be pretty easy. Git diff or git log. It's all of this stuff. Oh, we added a perk. Forgot about that. Drinking error message type. That's not gonna matter. That's not gonna matter. It's not really gonna matter for people. That won't matter. This didn't exist before this, so that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I'll write some like minor quality of life stuff. Not even worth listing. Okay, cool. So those are all the changes that we made. Now let's go publish those. Past news events. And then current news events. Game update, small update. Bug fixes and improvements. Brought to you by Nintendo Switch. Okay, so where are the notes? Here they are. And then we just need list. Okay, so what's the most important thing? Fixed a critical shader issue that probably affected next to nobody. It made everything with an outline appear at like 1/30th the regular size. The signs in the portal, signs, NPCs, the portal, etc. were really tiny. All right, lowered the title screen music's volume. Oh, I guess we're using present tense for this stuff, right? Many people reflexively reached for the volume sliders as soon as they open the game, but no other music is as loud as the first few seconds of the title screen. Lower the volume of the third music track that plays while in town. This was, this isn't worth listening. So these have all been listed here. Add new perk to the fishing pond. Spicy cooking. I think that's what it's called. Let's go take a look. Fishing pond. Yeah, spicy cooking. Change harvesting efficiency so that it harvests the crops closest to the one you clicked. There's actually a nerf for it. And then some other minor, improve some small QL stuff that's otherwise not worth explicitly listing. Cool, and I think we need a closing thing for this list. .7.8 is now out. I think this is probably more important for people than this. Yeah. All right, so save that. Review it, I guess. I don't really care whether this looks good or not. No one's going to read this stuff. Yeah, great. It's done. Anything else? Nope, that's it. So we just sync this. All right. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so how many days do we have left? Days until June 9th. 45. So on Monday it'll be 42 days left. And actually let's just say weekdays left until June 9th. 31. Okay, so that's like a solid month that we have to get things ready. I'd like the intro to be in the game by then. I think that's doable. Yeah. I think another music track is doable. And then I think we should do what Sorrow suggested the other day. Just like a minor sway on the trees, a 1 pixel animation for flowers, something like that. I think that stuff would be good. And lots of other small improvements too. Yeah, in general though, things are looking pretty good. Let's go find someone to raid. Maybe I should do a synth jam session on stream at some point. I said I wanted to raid Ezra. Is Ezra online? Apparently, Ezra's showing up when I do Command F to search, but I don't actually see the stream. Oh, maybe it's showing like here were people who were streaming in the past. I'm all on the same page, yeah. All right, whatever. Let's just find someone new. Same category, English. Looking for low uptime, 240, 225. Someone under an hour where I haven't. But I'm not following Zorkenheimer? What? No, I am. Look at this. Here's my following page. Zorkenheimer is right there. And yet, for whatever reason, it doesn't show a following tag next to them. Same thing with Stephen Griffin. I'm following Stephen Griffin too. Huh, weird. All right, well, not a lot of people with low uptime. Now we're in some of the streams with like one viewer. I'd like to find someone with more than one viewer. All right, maybe we shouldn't raid someone new then. Maybe we should just raid someone who has a higher uptime. Maybe this person. Okay, sure. Let's raid this person. Are you going to stream making the music track? I'm not sure about that. Because it's not very impressive or followable work. Anyway, let's go check out this person together. I'm not going to stick around for too long. Got some plans tonight. But thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the support. And I will see you all again on Monday. Take care.